Today's video is sponsored by Hisense. The holiday season is quickly approaching, and with certain fun things going on like a chip shortage, it might be a good idea that if you're interested in anything gaming or tech-wise, you grab it a little sooner than later. And so today I want to talk about some of my favorite accessories for the Xbox Series X and Series S. And the first thing I want to talk about is controllers. Now, the cool thing about the Xbox Series X and Series S is that they are backwards compatible with basically any accessory made for the Xbox One. But with that in mind, there are a lot of newer controllers and options coming out that are designed for these newer systems. One of the things that Xbox does really well is having a very large variety of colors and designs for their controllers, different limited edition runs, all kinds of cool stuff. And there's already a very large number of different colors to choose from for the regular Xbox. And so if you know someone that's picked up a system, but they have a certain favorite color or they're a fan of a certain game, you can keep your eyes open for one of those designs. Or one other option is, of course, Xbox Design Lab. This is a service offered by Microsoft where you can customize a controller, picking different colors for the faceplate, the shoulders, the sticks, the D-pad, completely customizing it based on what someone might like, and you can even put a little engraving on the front way. So this is a really cool way to give someone a personalized controller option if you know what they're into. Of course, when we're talking about controllers, another thing worth considering is Pro Controller options. Those ones that are more expensive than a standard mainline controller, but in return offer a whole bunch of different special features to help improve your game and really help out at the competitive level. And right now for the Series X, there's really three main options that have been targeted at this newer generation. You of course have Microsoft's own official first-party option with the Elite Controller Series 2. Scuf has their own option that is a modified Xbox Series style controller called the Instinct, and Razer has an original from the bottom-up design style controller with the Razer Wolverine V2. I've done in-depth reviews of all these controllers, and honestly, I really enjoyed my time with each of them. The main kind of takeaways for each one, the Elite Series 2 is, in my opinion, probably the best value in terms of quality of design, how much you're getting with the full package, and just the fact that because it is a first-party controller design, comes with a lot more in-depth software-level customization that you can do directly on the Xbox, which is just always really handy. The Scuf Instinct offers some of the greatest amount of customization, including being able to choose from a large variety of faceplates and colors and designs, but all of which also comes at a very steep price, making it the most expensive option on the market right now. And then Razer introduces what I think is one of the more interesting alternatives in that it is a very noticeably different shape. It is a wired-only design, which can be a turnoff for some people, but also comes with one of my all-time favorite Pro Controller features, Mecha Tactile buttons, which are these very clicky front-facing buttons that are just oh so satisfying and very useful in certain games. Basically, the Elite Series 2 is a very safe, one-size-fits-all approach. Scuf is great if you know exactly what someone likes to use and you can customize it to their interest. And the Wolverine is, I think, probably one of the most distinct and different designs that I personally really love, and it's a really good choice if someone doesn't necessarily like the layout and grip design of the regular Xbox controller and wants something different. As for something that's a little more specialized and celebrates one of the bigger releases this year for Xbox, we can also take a look at racing wheels. Forza Horizon 5 is one of the biggest exclusive titles coming to the Xbox this season. It is a fantastic looking racing game. I'm personally a really big fan of the Horizon series. It's one of the few racing games I really put time into outside of, say, Mario Kart. And something that can really help shape the experience and just make it more interactive on a whole other level is getting a racing wheel. Now, there are different quality levels of racing wheels that are out there. There are some very basic, simple ones that just operate like a wireless racing wheel that you move around. But if you're willing to throw down a little bit more money for something that's a lot more interactive, something to take a look at are feedback wheels. One example that I have on hand right now that I'll check out is a newer one coming from Hori. Now, the idea with these force feedback wheels is that just like with a regular racing wheel, yes, you've got pedals and you've got a wheel to turn that feels like you're driving a car, but then the way that this takes it to a whole other level is that it actually fights back against you a little bit the way that a real steering wheel would while driving. This does take a little extra setup to use to make sure you're using it properly. It's designed to clip to a table edge of some sort to make sure that it's nice and stable, or you can buy a dedicated rig setup to use them, which is even more expensive, but really does up that immersion factor. And honestly, it just makes the whole experience of playing these types of racing games all the more fun. If you ever grew up playing racing games in an arcade where you actually had a full setup sitting there, it feels like that. You know, there's just that kind of level of immersion that you're not achieving with a regular controller that is really fun to have. And so if you know anyone who's a big racing fan, or Forza Horizon is one of the games they're looking forward to, this is an awesome idea to really bring that experience to a whole other level. Speaking of immersion, one thing that I feel like not enough people really put thought into when it comes to getting the most out of their Xbox system is the TV they're using. And one option I want to talk about is from today's sponsor, Hisense, with the U7 ULED TV. With all the new features and functions added by the Xbox Series X with its release last year, and some updates that have happened over the course of the last year, it's important to have a TV that can checkmark all the boxes. Literally. If you go into your Xbox settings, you can actually see your 4K TV details and see which functions and features that it's able to support. And the U7 ULED TV behind me hits all of those. Some of these are features that you might be familiar with by now, like variable refresh rate, so it helps smooth out any kind of uneven frame rates in some games. 4K 120Hz support, so you can make sure you play games in the highest resolutions and frame rates that they are available in. And a feature that is currently unique to the Xbox as far as game consoles go, Dolby Vision support. If you don't know what this is, it's basically the newest, best version, an upgrade over HDR that gives you the best colors possible in games. There are some select titles that currently support it, but the list is growing more and more over time. And of course, media streaming content is available in Dolby Vision as well. The U7 ULED TV is able to offer all of these features at a really good value price, but honestly, one of the things that really stands out to me about this TV is Hisense's confidence, because along with this, they have a 100-day no regrets guarantee, where basically you can have this TV for 90 days, 95 days, 99 days, and decide you don't actually like it. You can contact the company and get a full refund. That's how much faith they have in their products. So if you want to learn more about the U7 and Hisense's other TVs, as well as take advantage of that 100-day no regrets campaign, check out the link down below in the description. Going back to slightly more traditional accessories, along with controllers, one of the really big things that a lot of people look for right away with a gaming system is, of course, a headset. And there are a lot of them on the market. It can be a little bit dizzying. One thing that does make it a little simpler is that Xbox does have its own first-party option available for the system right now, which is the official Xbox headset. And honestly, as far as headsets go for its price point, it is an excellent choice. Good audio quality, good comfort. I think it's a good-looking headset. And because it is a first-party headset, it comes with a lot of baked-in controls and additional settings that you can do directly with the system. One thing in particular that I think really is a testament to the value of this headset is the fact that it is one of the current options available that offers dual wireless support. What that means is that it has the ability to connect to your Xbox wirelessly with its own dedicated signal, but also supports the ability to connect to Bluetooth devices, and you can do these at the same time. The main way this would be really useful is if you want to connect to the Xbox to play a game, but then you want to connect to your phone in order to use a third-party chat option like Discord. Now, this is not the only headset that does this on the market. If you watched my PlayStation video, I talked about a SteelSeries headset that does the same thing, but it is rare to see this option available in a $100 headset, which is really, I think, one of the big selling points of this design, is that it has that feature along with all the other qualities at that very affordable option compared to other ones out there. If you're curious about other options out there, one brand that I talk about a lot, and in particular I did this with the PlayStation video as well, is SteelSeries. And for the Xbox in particular, they have an option called the 9X. And what's interesting about the 9X versus the other options available is that it's the only SteelSeries headset that uses the Xbox wireless signal as well, so it doesn't rely on any kind of dongle plugged into the system. It'll just connect directly like that official Microsoft headset does. It is a more expensive headset that I personally do find a little more comfortable. I really like their headband design and the shape of the ear cups, but that does vary from person to person. Different ears, different comfort level depending on the shape. And they do offer really excellent audio quality. Again, I do think the official Microsoft headset is just a very simple no-brainer choice, but if you want something different from it, SteelSeries is a brand that I generally really enjoyed using. As for another accessory option that is maybe not as obvious as some of these other ones, maybe not as fun, but is a really important thing, storage expansion. With the Xbox in particular, the way that you can expand the storage of the system, allowing you to install more games, especially with how large some games are getting, like Call of Duty, there are official first-party options you can grab that plug directly into the back of the system and add more storage space. Now, as of right now, the only ones on the market, at least what I'm talking about in this video, come from Seagate. However, they are now available in 3 different sizes. They have a 512, a 1 terabyte, and a 2 terabyte. The 1 terabyte is the original model that they released alongside the Xbox, and if I'm being honest, It's actually still, I think, the main one you should go for. The 512 is cheaper, but not by a margin that I think is really worth the savings for how much storage you end up losing out on. It's $140 compared to the $220 price tag of the 1 terabyte. And while 2 terabytes is a lot more storage, that brings that memory card up to $400, which is more than an Xbox Series S. So as far as how much usable storage you're getting out of your dollar and how much I think most people need, the 1 terabyte is really, I think, the first option you should look at. If you've got the money to burn and you just want to give someone the most storage they can possibly get, the 2 terabyte option is out there, but it's a little overkill. One other accessory I want to talk about is one that, honestly, personally, I don't use a whole lot, but I know a lot of people who stand by these and love these for their system, and that is a dedicated media remote for your Xbox. Basically, if you don't like the idea of controlling traditional media using an Xbox controller, if you like the feeling of using a media remote when doing things like streaming movies or television shows, you want something you don't have to resync all the time because it fell asleep while you were watching the movie, there are dedicated media remotes you can grab for the Xbox, and one that I have been trying out using recently comes from 8BitDo. They actually make 2 different styles of these that are meant to kind of mirror the Xbox Series S and X. They have a white one that is smaller and just really focuses on some of the main controls that you need in order to manipulate media, and there's a larger black one that has additional buttons and uses if you want to use it as a full-blown remote, giving you things like putting channel input numbers. So if you or someone you know uses their Xbox as their primary media device for watching a lot of stuff, this can be a cool little pickup that just ends up changing the experience a little bit and ends up being a more convenient option than always relying on a regular controller. It's one of those things that isn't like an absolute necessary fix where there's a huge problem of using regular controllers and systems, but once you do start using one, it's really convenient and nice to have on hand, actually. There are some of my favorite Xbox accessories you can grab as a gift, or maybe just for yourself if you're looking to grab some more stuff for your system this holiday season. Everything I've talked about in the video is linked down below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well. I'd like to thank Hisense again for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to check them out down below in the description as well, and I will see you guys later.